guys, what is up? It is Snitchery. How are you doing? Today we're doing something fun, or fun to me at least. You guys know that I'm not typically a makeup tutorial person, even though I mostly do makeup on the internet. It's just not really my jam. There's so many amazing makeup artists on YouTube. I've just never really felt like there's that much for me to like add to the conversation. But I was lying in bed this morning and I was so inspired to film makeup content, and I was just racking my brain for something that I could do. And then I realized that I get requests for this tutorial constantly, every single day in my DMs, and I've always just shrugged it off because I thought it would be kind of a short, uninteresting video. I was like, oh, I'll do it on Instagram one day and just show people. But in fact, I think there's a lot of context that goes into this little tutorial and a lot I have to explain for the reasons behind why this works. And as the title implies, today I'm going to be showing you guys how to get my signature lips. So a lot of people ask if I've had lip injections. No, I have not had lip injections. My lips are natural, but my lips also don't look like this without makeup. This technique is a combination of overlining and underlining. Actually, there's a lot of underlining that goes on. There's a lot of playing with shadows and illusions, but it's also extremely easy. It doesn't involve many steps, and the steps that it does involve are things that literally anybody could do. Like somebody who's never picked up a makeup brush could still do this. Before we get into that, if you've never seen my face before and you're ever interested in seeing my face again, feel free to subscribe down below. I would love to have you join us on this little video journey, and I'd love to make more videos like this. So if you like this sort of video, hit it with a like. If at any point in the video you're really feeling it and you want to see more content like this from me. Second order of business, really quick. If you watch all my videos and you notice that my most recent video has been deleted, I will talk about why that is the case at the end of this video, but I'm assuming most people who watch this aren't that interested. So if you are interested, it'll be at the end. If you're not interested, then here comes the tutorial. Before we actually get into the steps that I use to give myself that Bratz look, that really pouty, lifted, like almost e-girl look, I think they're the ones who've adopted it now. I do want to talk a little bit about why I choose to make my lips that shape. So this is my face head on. I went significantly lighter with the contouring today so that you could see what my face actually looks like. If this is your first time watching me or you just don't know, I have had cheek filler and jaw filler. Though the cheek filler, I think at this point has mostly sort of dissipated. It's not nearly as prominent as it used to be. The jaw filler is still pretty prominent. It's kind of new, but I didn't get very much. So it's not like a really chiseled jaw. It's just sort of more of a contoured jawline. But when you look at my face, you can see that it's very round. Not necessarily that it's a round face shape. My face is a little too narrow and long to be like a round face shape, but especially in the slope of my cheeks, when I turn, when I talk, you can see right here, I just have a very round face. Even in my jaw, it's all just sort of rounded. I have a slopey chin. I have a very round nose. I have very round eyes. I was actually watching a YouTube video, God, it had to have been like a couple months ago, where this woman, and I will link her down below, I'll find it again. I don't remember what her name is off the top of my head or what her channel name is, but she talks about sort of different body types and face types. And one of the big things she talks about is whether you have a juicy face or a dry face. And what that means is some people have more meat, more skin that covers their bones on their face and on the rest of their body, but we're talking about our face. And some people have what's considered dry faces, where they're very angular regardless of if they gain weight or lose weight. They're gonna keep sort of that angularity, that sharpness, that harshness. And neither one is better than the other. Case in point being that people pay a lot of money to gain both aesthetics. For example, I like my face to be, or at least I try to push my face to be very balanced between that angularity and that softness. I'm starting from a very soft place. So I do get cheek filler and I get jaw filler, and I contour my nose to be more straight down. I give myself winged eyeliner so that there's a little bit more angularity, a little bit more harshness, a little more severity. A lot of people get fillers. It's very popular now actually to mimic that severity in your face or to capitalize on it if you already have it. But a lot of other people also go to med spas and pay for procedures to gain a more feminine, a more youthful, a softer appearance. A lot of people think that a fuller face makes them look healthier, makes them look a little bit more romantic, in a lot of cases makes them look more approachable. So neither one is better than the other. I just happen to have like a juicy ass face. I have a very meaty face. I have a lot of skin on my bones, regardless of how much or how little I weigh. I'm always gonna have, like you can see when I talk, this is always gonna sit here and this is always gonna sit here. I also have very prominent features. I wouldn't necessarily call them strong features in the traditional sense, and that my nose is not very like straight and harsh and prominent. My eyes aren't actually that big, they're just round, but my features in the way they all sort of sit together, they're very prominent. I have a lot of face on my face. I do not have a very like delicate, dainty petite face. There's a lot of face going on there. So even though if you look at my lips, you might look at my lips and think that they're really in proportion to my face, and they're not too out of proportion for me, but I do tend to think I look a little better when this upper lip is just a little larger. The reason for that being that the bottom half of my face is a little bit bigger than the top half of my face. So when I have smaller lips, it makes this section look even bigger. If I have bigger lips, it sort of almost eclipses a little bit of that meatiness down here so that I look a little bit more in proportion. I actually learned about how important those little changes can be when I started wearing wigs, because I would get these wigs that on the surface level looked very similar, and some would look terrible on me and some would make my face shape look amazing, and I couldn't figure out what the through line was between the terrible wigs and the amazing wigs, because some would be long and some would be short and they'd be blonde and they'd be black, and some would look amazing and some would look terrible, and it seemed like there was no consistency between which ones looked good until I realized that they all had different hairlines. So this is actually an example of a wig where I don't really like the hairline yet. I haven't customized it. But when you buy a wig, based on how you cut the lace, but more so on how the hairline is sewn, you're gonna have a different hairline than your natural hairline more often than not, because people's hairlines are very different. Some people have widow's peaks, some people's temples go really far back, some people have a straight across hairline, some people, like this wig's hairline is very curved. And I realized that all the wigs that looked terrible had a very straight hairline all the way across, so I didn't have very much temple space. What that did was make the bottom of my face look even bigger because my forehead was looking smaller. What I like to do now is really pluck back the wigs so that I have more of a forehead, because the more forehead I have, the smaller my face looks down here. So all that to say, when you are determining your lip shape, take that into account. Take into account like what you want to present with your face. There are ways that you can overline your lips to be very sharp and harsh, which looks incredible on some people. I mean, if you've ever seen those like really sort of those really pointy lips, oftentimes in red, they look amazing. They look super full, but they're very sharp. And then in my case, I like to have a bit more like lushness because I think it matches the rest of my face a bit better. I like it to be significantly more rounded than my lips are. My lips are actually a bit wider than they are like full vertically. So what I do when I'm overlining my lips, and if you want to achieve this same lip shape, this is what you can do too, regardless of how big your lips are, is I like to underline the sides and I like to overline the top and bottom, and that's what's gonna give you that brat style look. Do you see what I mean? My lips are in proportion, but this area is almost a little too wide for me, and I do want to give a disclaimer that I don't think anybody looks inherently better or worse with certain facial features. I don't consider this corrective. I don't think anybody has to correct what they look like with makeup or surgery or injections or otherwise. It's just sort of a preference on how you'd like your face to align. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I am gonna start overlining my lips. But what I'm gonna do is start at the corner and make it really dark on the corner, and then come up a little bit, I'm not drawing yet, but come up a little bit higher here. Do you see already between this side and this side, my lips naturally kind of go like this. They sort of slope on the top and bottom. You can see they're almost pointy, they're not rounded. So even though they're large, they don't look as full as I'd like them to look. Already, this side versus this side, this looks significantly fuller, more defined. My lip color is also very similar to my skin tone compared to a lot of people on their lips. So having a defined edge already helps it look a little bit larger. Go ahead and do that to the other side. I'm also gonna go ahead and take the pencil and go a little bit outside my lip line, actually right at the corner. See how that already gave me like a significant lift? I think a lot of people have the misconception that they overline their lips on the top, which can work for a lot of lip shapes, but for some lip shapes, that's not where you need the fullness. For me, I need more of the fullness on the side. Now, if you think it's looking crazy, especially when I talk, it absolutely is, and that's because thus far, we've only overlined our lip. I'm gonna go ahead and do the bottom as well, and again, I'm gonna focus on the outer corner. See how bringing that lip shape down, it looks so much bigger. Pick a lip pencil that's a little bit darker than your lip shape, but make sure that it has the same undertone so that it looks the most natural. So now our lips just look puffy. They don't look that attractive, to me at least. If you like this look, go off with your bad self. But this is not my moment. This is not my preferred lip shape. I'm sure it works for some people, but it's not my jam. So what I'm gonna do before cleaning it up altogether is I'm gonna go ahead and take just a tiny brush and my bronzer. I'm gonna take it on that brush and I'm just gonna go like this. Add a little shadow underneath your lip. Do you see what that did? It's subtle, but it makes a difference. It makes your lip look heavier in the middle, which makes your lip look fuller. Next, I'm gonna go into the underlining step. Now for this, you kind of have two choices. I prefer to use my actual foundation shade because I want it to look a bit more natural, but if you are working with a little less lip naturally, then you can go in with a concealer shade or a foundation shade that's just a little bit lighter than your natural lips. Make sure you blend it in really well, but that is an option if you want to add even more fullness. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my ABH foundation. I'm gonna take it and just go like this and come into the corner of my mouth. See over here versus over here? And just draw it down. See how even though we underlined a little bit on this side, it actually looks fuller than this side and also significantly less ridiculous. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the same to the other side. Do you see how that makes it look like our lip is just like popping out? But it's not in a natural way. It just looks like it has significantly more volume in comparison to what my lips looked like before. It's almost like a breast lift for your lips. I'm gonna go ahead and on the top, and what I'm trying to do here is just mimic that circular shape and also fix up here. And again, not taking too much off the sides of the top lip. And this is why I say anybody can do this lip shape, because regardless of your lip shape, shortening how wide your lips are is always gonna make them look taller on the top, especially if you overline. That's what, if you look at a Bratz doll, it actually has like kind of a ridiculous lip shape. It's all very much packed in the center of the doll. Next, I'm gonna take that same liner and darken up the corners. This is also gonna create the illusion of a poutier lip because it's gonna be lighter in the center. Next, I'm gonna go in with a lip balm. I think a lot of people at this step would use a lip gloss. I'm more of a balm girl myself. This is gonna give your lips a sheen, which is gonna make it look even bigger, but it's also gonna sort of disguise all that liner work. It just kind of all blends together. Now this is almost like catfishing. This is sort of the natural version of that Bratz doll look. You can of course add liquid lipstick or any lipstick you want. Add a shimmery gloss. You can add concealer into the middle of your lips. But if you want to stop here, you've now successfully achieved sort of a lip injection Bratz doll pouty look for free. I'm gonna go ahead and put on some matte liquid lipstick before we get into the very end portion of this video talking about the last video I uploaded. So while that's drying down, I will tell you guys why I deleted my last video. The reason being, so many of you guys were so freaking kind in the comments. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you that had kind words for me. I literally did not get one hateful comment in the, I think, hour that it was up. You guys were all so freaking nice. However, I think the idea that I had in my head of what that video would be and how it would be received was different than how it actually was received. And by that I mean, you guys know I like to do those videos where I just talk about a topic and we discuss it in the comments and we all kiki and it's great and it's amazing. That's like the intention I had for this video as well, but I think it ended up just being a video about me like complaining almost, and it wasn't taken poorly by you guys. Like I said, everyone was really sympathetic and telling me they related to what I was talking about, but I did want it to be more of a conversation about the anxieties that people face on social media, whether they're an influencer or not, and I think that was really overshadowed by me talking about my move and why that was stressing me out, which again, I really appreciate everyone's comments telling me that they related on either count. What I really wanted the video to be about, I think, was overshadowed by my like personal woes, and that's not what I wanted, and I still want to have that conversation. So I didn't want to leave the video up, because then if I made a video where I corrected the perspective I was taking in the video, it would be really repetitive and people would just be like listening to the same spiel over again but through a different lens, and that's not that interesting. So I did try to minimize the number of people who saw it. If you did see it, thank you for being early to my videos, I appreciate it. But if you didn't see it, I will be re-uploading something similar soon that's less me focused, that can really actually spark a conversation that isn't surrounded around snitchery. All that said, that is the end of the video. If you enjoy these types of videos or tutorials, they're kind of more interesting for me to make. You guys know I'm not really an eyeshadow girl in my personal life. I mean, I can do it, but that's not really the part of makeup that interests me. What interests me far more is how you can change your features through makeup. And I'm not a professional, by the way, I'm not a trained professional, but just how I like contour my nose, how I make my eyes significantly larger. I hesitate to use the word technical because again, I'm untrained, but if you want to see my techniques on how I achieve those types of things, like this video and let me know down below so that I can make more of these on different ways to change your face shape. But that is unfortunately all I have for you today, guys. Thank you for being my friend today and always, and I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah! Bye, guys.